Jagatpate Gopisa Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapa Kanchana Gourangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Prasavana Suti Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vantakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhuveva Paditanam Pavubhyo Vaishnavyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Vishnu Hare Krishna Vaibhavai Srimati Bhakti Swami Namaste Krishna Hare Chaitanya Shri Gaura Karana Sati Bhakti Swami Om Vishnu Hare Krishna Vaibhavai Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nityananda Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaura Vani Puchari Muni Visesa Sonya Bhakti Pastor Chadi Sachari. Continue our reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 13. This terrestrial pitch home. Text 1. Sutta Uvacha Vidura Vetrayam Maitreya Padmano Gatim Yatvagat Dastina Puram Aya Bhakta Vivit Sita. Sutta Uvacha Vidura Tirtha Yatrayam Maitreya Padmano Gatim Yatvagat Dastina Puram Aya Bhakta Vivit Sita. Sutta Uvacha Vidura Tirtha Yatrayam Maitreya Padmano Gatim Yatvagat Dastina Puram Aya Bhakta Vivit Sita. Sri Sutra Goswami said, while traveling on a pilgrimage, Vidura received knowledge of the destination of the self from the great sage Maitreya, and he returned to Hastinapura. He became as well versed in the subject as he desired. In the third canto, we will hear how Vidura Mahatma met with Maitreya Muni, and the quality, the level of their discussion is also duly narrated with complete knowledge of self-realization, God-realization, or devotional service. So it is said here that we already discussed how Vidura left home because he was severely insulted by Duryodhana. And he took advantage of that, considering it to be the activity of the internal energy of Krishna. He took it very positively, which is a big lesson for all of us. That a devotee is never take anything inauspiciously. Devotee take everything auspiciously. Like His Holiness Bhakti Maharaj said in his leadership book 1, every negative thing should make it positive. Of course, this is not just a simple thing to do. It is something that has to be with the strength of our Bhakti for Krishna. The strength of our Bhakti for Krishna will enable us to do that. To turn everything negative into positive and every positive thing into more positive. In other words, it's a dynamic system that doesn't just end. They don't like end. Okay, now have reached the end. So I can be on holiday. There's no holiday. So Vidura Mahatma, it then what look like, what was considered inauspicious to become auspicious. He went on pilgrimage. Tirita the Triumph, while traveling to different places of pilgrimage. Maitreya from the great sage Maitreya, Admanaha of the self, the team destination. He learned that. He learned the ultimate, the process of getting the final destination. And he got it there. Therefore, he came back home to come and help his senior brother, Dhira. So Sudha Goswami said, he became as well versed in the subject of Krishna consciousness as he desired. So Prabhupada gave an explanation of Dhira. Dhira is one of the prominent figures in the history of the Mahabharata. He was conceived by Vyasadeva in the womb of the maid servant of Ambika, mother of Maharaj. He is the incarnation of Yamaraj, being cursed by Manduka Muni. He was to become a Sudra. Later on, Prabhupada explained, Dhira is not a Sudra, because Yamaraj is one of the 12 Mahajans. So he cannot be a Sudra. He simply took on the dress. And for Krishna's pastimes. And Vrindavan Das Thakura explained in Chaitanya Bhagavat that wherever a pure devotee appears, wherever, anywhere, any family, any situation a pure devotee appeared in, because the question was, why Krishna allows his pure devotees to appear in inauspicious places? Inauspicious places are where Ganga does not flow. Because places where there's no Ganga is considered to be inauspicious. Anywhere Ganga does not flow through, that place is inauspicious. So why Krishna allows his pure devotees to appear in inauspicious places, inauspicious families, or a sick body? Why Krishna allowed that to happen? What is Krishna's plan in that? So Vrindavan Das Thakura explained, pure devotee like touchstone. A touchstone cannot be contaminated, but a touchstone will transform anything iron into gold. So similarly, pure devotees can transform everything inauspicious to auspiciousness. We have the scriptural evidence which may be very far, but we have the present evidence which is very close to our eyes, our faces, that we can see it. The divine grace, the founder of ISKCON, Swami Bhakti Swami. Yeah. Is it not a transformation from inauspiciousness to auspiciousness that Africans are taking to Christian consciousness? You don't see that? Who did that? It's the Prabhupada. So our scriptures are very, 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 very direct, very clean, very, very clean, perfect and complete like Krishna, because they are the breath of Krishna. In fact, Prabhupada said, Bhagavatam is directly like Krishna. Buddha also said the same thing. Bhagavatam is directly Krishna. Kalindi said the same thing. Bhagavatam is directly Krishna. Anyone who hears Krishna is having direct association with Krishna. I hope Bhatta Swapachatu Gariyan. Jar Jiva Gre Bhartate Nama Tubyam. Tepu Sapaste Juhu, Sasnu, Arya. This is Devahuti, glorifying devotees, glorifying the holy name of Krishna. Gariyan, Sopacha, Gariyan. That the condemned soul, contaminated souls have become glorious, worshipable. What is that? Is a purity of the pure devotees of Krishna, the purity of pure devotees that is transforming all inauspicious things into auspiciousness. So we don't have to go very far. Just look very carefully. Look around, see ourselves. Taking to Krishna consciousness. The Militias, Yavanas, Aborigines, the Kasas, Pulindas, Abiras, Sumbas, varieties. It's all these tribes are below Shudra. Civilization begins from Shudra, but all what we have mentioned now from second canto of Bhagavatam are below Shudra. That means we are not qualified and we are not civilized. But Srila Prabhupada came to this uncivilized culture and gave the civilization. That is miracle Prabhupada has made. So Vrindavan Sakura said, Lord Krishna allowed his pure devotees to appear in inauspicious places, inauspicious tribes, inauspicious births, just for the purpose of making that place auspicious. You see, if someone comes from somewhere to come and give you something, you may think, oh, that is foreign. But if you yourself are practicing that, testing that, and giving a testimony and preaching that, the people from your tribe will follow you easily. They will see it as something foreign. And when you speak, they wouldn't say, oh, it's insulting us. Because no, you are part of us. Whatever you say, it is true. So in that way, Lord Krishna allowed his pure devotees to appear in what is considered inauspicious, like Hanuman taking the form of animal. Allah taking birth in a Suri family. Harada Sakura appearing in Yavana family. All these things are demonstrations of Krishna's wonderful transcendental nature to make everything auspicious. So Vidura, he said here is it's an incarnation of Yamaraj. So he cannot be a Sudra, although he appeared in a womb of a Sudra lady. He is a Mahajan. He's one of the 12 Mahajans. So it's a history here. It's a history. How Yamaraj became Vidura. Manduka Muni was practicing austerity in the forest. And this is providence. This is how providence works. Providence. No one can escape. In proper use the word, the stringent law of material nature. Stringent. Very, very strong. Nobody can escape. Nobody has the power to escape. Daivehish is agonami. Daibi is agonami. Mama Maya. Rataya. So, Manduka Muni was practicing austerity in the forest, fully absorbed in his meditation. And one day, two thieves were robbing in the city. And the police started chasing them. They ran. Entered the forest, and they came and hid themselves in the ashram of Manduka Muni. He was sitting outside his cottage, doing his meditation outside. This is how providence works. So the thieves, they ran and hid inside. The police constables were running after them and came and caught them inside. And they said, so this man is not a sage. He is sitting here pretending to be a Muni. Meanwhile, he is trading people to go to the city and steal and come back and give to him. So it was reported to the king that this man, he sent people to go and rob, and they will bring the things to him. But if that were his activities, he wouldn't be living in the forest. And even if he lived in the forest, he would be having a better material facilities. But because providence was working, they didn't check to see that this man had nothing in the ashram. So if you were pretending to be a Muni, why would he be living in that place? He will not stay there. But providence was so powerful that they didn't realize that. So Manduka Muni was ordered to come along with the robbers, and was given a punishment to tear his body with a lance. Because he was considered to be a leader of the robbers. But because he's a Muni, although his body was pierced, he did not die. And when the king realized that this was the situation and he got to know the truth, he was very, very sorry. And he ordered that he should be released from that. So he was released. And he begged his pardon. Because the Muni has the knowledge. He was not angry with the king who had done this to him. He went straight to Yamaraj. Because he knows he has knowledge. He went to Yamaraj. Yama, Yaj, why did you do this to me? Sure, Yamaraj, he knows everything. He's omniscient, so he knows everyone. He knows everyone and everything completely. He knows all. So he looked into the Muni's life and said, "Oh, my dear Muni, you know, like we used to do as children, especially those of us born in the village. Huh? As a child, he used to pierce some grasshoppers with a very sharp blade. Because of that, although you did that as a child, because of that, this has happened to you." He became very angry. "Thing I did as a child, you punished me so severely like this. What is it? You don't know your duty. I curse you to become a Shudra." So Yamana came down as Vidura Mahatma. And you see, even though he left his post, Dharmaraj, who does not know anything sinful, Yamara never commits sin. Yesterday we mentioned Yamara, he never committed any sin. He never do anything sinful. That is why Dharmaraj, religion Christianity, he never committed any sin. So the punishment he gave to Mandukamuni was just, because it's a thing we did. Prabhupada told us that ignorance or innocence is not an excuse. It's not an excuse. But I do not know is not an excuse. Why we should not know? Why we don't know? And it's not nobody's fault. It is our fault. So if you don't know, it is not an excuse. We will pay for it. So Yamaraj gave it to him as he deserved it. But because although he has the knowledge to understand, because he's a Muni, he has been studying, practicing, there's some level of purity there. But his purification is not complete. He's not completely perfect. He can be a Dhira, but he's not a Mahatma like Vidura. Different levels of practice, or different levels of practitioners. So, because he's not a pure devotee, he was angry. Although he had the knowledge, but Bhakti is not there. So because you should become a Shudra. And Yamara took it kindly. He took it kindly. As a devotee, everything inauspicious to be turned to auspiciousness. That's a devotee life. So here is Vidura. And when he came down, Ariyama, who is one of the sons of Kashyapa Muni, took over that post. The son of one of the sons of Kashyapa, Ariyama, he took the post. I was ruling there while Vidura was here. And the Prabhupada explained, because the Sarastra, and Yamaraj was feeling that he should have some holiday so he can do some pure devotional service. Because every day he's harassing people, looking into people's activities every time. You can imagine, you can just learn from Yamaraj how it is so inauspicious for devotee to just be thinking about other people's, not other people's pure devotional service, pure Krishna conscious life, other people's sinful activities, sinful life, sinful deeds. We should learn from Yamaraj that it is not wonderful. It's not a wonderful life. So Yamaraj was feeling every day, every time, for whole life, I'm just looking at people's activities. And it is not a very auspicious activities. Your conditions will not do anything auspicious. It's all inauspicious things. So I wish I could have break. So Krishna gave him break in this way. See, you see his break is very, very, very powerful. The process of getting that break is very, very powerful. He was cursed, which is not auspicious, but he made it auspicious. All right. Text number 2. After asking various questions and becoming established in the transcendental loving service of Krishna, Vidura retired from putting questions on my train. The prophet said, like Vidura, an inquisitive, conditioned soul must approach a bona fide spiritual master, like material. And by intelligent inquiries, must try to know everything about karma, future activities, again, philosophical research for the supreme truth, and yoga, the linking process of spiritual realization. One who is not seriously inclined to put in questions before a spiritual master need not accommodate a show of spiritual master. Nor should a person who may be a spiritual master for others who is to be so if he is unable to engage his disciple ultimately in a transcendental loving service of the Lord, Sri Krishna. Vidura was successful in approaching such a spiritual master like material, and he got the ultimate goal of life, Bhakti unto Govinda. Thus, there was nothing to be known further about spiritual progress. Therefore, Vidura did not continue with his question. He stopped. He was not just there to make a show. Vidura was not here to make a show of devotion. Like I see here in West Africa, devotees asked many questions, many questions. I remember those days when Gurudev was speaking, there were so many questions, but nobody practiced anything. Of course, in this class, nobody asked questions. That's a different. But I remember those days, so many questions asking, but you don't do anything, only ask questions. That is false ego. Not to make a show that I know and do nothing. Anyway, in this class, nobody is asking questions. So maybe we have become free from false ego now. Like before, so many questions without doing anything. And Gurudev will be speaking and speaking, giving so much, but nobody practice. So it's better that now we are ready to practice and not asking unnecessary questions just to make a show. Vidura didn't make a show. When he asked all the necessary questions and the necessary answers were given, and he realized everything. The prophet said he attained Govinda. Bhakti unto Govinda. Thus, there was nothing more to be known further about spiritual activities. So he stopped asking. Now he's satisfied. One should not just make a show. Neither should the guru himself, I said, make a show. Making a show from either side will not help anybody. It will remain conditioned souls. Yes. When they saw Vidura return to the palace, all the inhabitants, Maharaj Yudhishthira, his younger brothers, Dhritarashtra, Satyaki, Sanjaya, Kripacharya, Kunti Devi, Gandhari, Draupadi, Subhadra, Uttara, Kripi, many other wives of the Kauravas and other ladies with children, all hurried to him in great delight. It shows appear that they had regained their consciousness after a long period. Yes. We have discussed before how the Dwarkabasis hurried to come and see Lord Krishna when he returned because of the level of their bhakti. They were very, very active, very attentive, and very appreciative because they know that life is coming back to their body. And the same thing we are seeing here. When Vidura Mahatma returned home, all the relatives came. All of them, they came with a great haste just to see him and also to hear from him. Because they know he has traveled to go and get wealth, the wealth of Krishna consciousness, Krishna Prem. They knew he has gone for that. What the purpose of going on pilgrimage? If one goes on pilgrimage, it is certain that one will become purified from that austerity. And with that purification, one is sure to attain the goal. So if you don't attain the goal of his desire, it is said here, he became as well versed in the subject as he desired. Now he has come back because he has brought auspiciousness. All those who are very, very fortunate, they are running to come and see him and get their blessing, get his blessing. You do somebody going to appreciate him in the later basis, you're going to appreciate him seriously. So Prabhupada is describing different personalities here. Different personalities. We're not going to go through all of them. You must have gone through it yourself. So, you know, the great personalities here. Gandhari. Gandhari, the ideal chaste lady in the history of the world. She was the daughter of Maharaj Subal, the king of Gandhara, now Kandahar in Kabul. And in her maiden state, she worshipped Shiva. For Shiva is generally worshipped by Hindu maidens to get a good husband. So Gandhari satisfied Lord Shiva, and by his benediction to obtain 100 sons, she was betrothed to Dhritarashtra, despite his being blind forever. That is something we should learn. Like Gandhari was not blind, it is her husband that was blind. She could have refused, because there are so many other men there. Why should I get a blind person as a husband? What karma did I do that my husband should be a blind person? I could look for somebody else. But Gandhari did not think like that. That is not all. That is not all. This thing anyone can do. Anyone can potentially do something, but the real thing is from the heart. So, what is the most astounding thing quality of Gandhari here? When she accepted to get married to a blind person, what did she do? See, in order not to feel superior to her husband, Gandhari has to reduce herself to the level of her husband so that there will not be false ego. Because when there is false ego, there will be difficulty in the marriage. Gandhari, very auspicious. She is called Sadhvi. Sadhu in a man. Sadhvi, a woman. That's how she is described. Sadhvi. So she willingly on her own blindfolded herself so that she will not be proud. She will not feel superior to the husband. She will look equal. And because of that austerity she performs, became very, very powerful. That just a little in anger, looking at the feet of Maharaj Yudhishthira, he got burnt. She's very powerful. That is the result of perfume austerity. Anyway, so proper went on to give a full detail. So I'm not going to. I only took the one pieces. We can just understand little thing about that. When the intrigue of the Battle of Kurukshetra was going on, she was not in favor of fighting with the Pandavas. Rather, she blamed Dhritarashtra, her husband, for such a fratricidal war. She desired that the state be divided into two parts, for the sons of Pandu and her son. She was very affected when all her sons died in the Battle of Kurukshetra, and she wanted to press Bhimsena and Yudhishthira or she was checked by Jessica. And Krishna also played a very powerful part to show us how Krishna is very, very kind and is the supreme protector of his devotees. After the war, when the Pandavas they returned back to the palace, and they were coming to, they were coming. They returned back to the palace, and they went to visit to go and greet Dhritarashtra and Gandhari. Krishna protected Bhimsena from and Yudhishthira Maharaj from her. And Krishna also protected Bhimsena from Dhritarashtra. Dhritarashtra was so angry. She was so angry that when the Pandavas was offering obeisances to him one by one, he was accepting, but when he came to Bhimsena, he was so angry that he wanted to embrace him. So Krishna pushed Bhimsena away and brought him iron beam. Bhimsena did not know. This is we should hear so you can understand what Krishna is doing for us. Krishna knew that Bhimsena is in danger by embracing him because she's not aware. But Krishna knows everything. So Krishna pushed. He did not allow Bhimsena to embrace Dhritarashtra. So he pushed him away and brought in iron beam. And Dhritarashtra embraced the iron beam with his strength. He squeezed it. Can you imagine the strength Dhritarashtra has? Iron, not wood. He squeezed it like you can squeeze a banana in your hands. If you put banana in and you can squeeze it, the same thing this Rasta did. Did it to iron beam. And then he started to learn, oh, I have again committed another offense. I have again do another one. Krishna said no. He didn't do anything because I knew your intention. Therefore, I did not allow Bhimsena to embrace you. So what you have crushed is the iron, not Bhimsena. So Bhimsena is fully protected iron. So Krishna is always protecting. So anyway, that is Gandhari. Now Prita. Prita is a Kunti Devi, daughter of Maharaj Surasena and sister of Vasudeva, Lord Krishna's father. Later, she was adopted by Maharaj Kunti Bhoja, and hence she is known as Kunti. She is the incarnation of the success potency of the personality of Godhead. Success potency, incarnation, is the success potency. Success potency. That is her position. So they are not ordinary people. They are not ordinary. The heavenly denizens from the upper planet used to visit the palace of King Kunti, and Kunti was engaged for their reception. And she also served the great mystic sage Durvasa, and being satisfied by her faithful service, Durvasa Muni gave her a mantra by which it was possible for her to call for any demigod she pleased. Durvasa Muni was satisfied with her service, and with a mystic power, he could see that this girl is going to have problems in her marriage in the future. The husband is going to die untimely, very young. Therefore, I should give her a mantra because at that time, people are very civilized, very chaste. So they cannot think of another man again in their life. They can never think of another man again in their life. Therefore, he knew that she will have a problem And it should be very, very bad for a young girl not to get the husband. To be feeling that space in her life and being satisfied with her service. So he gave her a mantra. If you call this mantra, if you chant this mantra, any demigod you want, if you chant this mantra, they must come. So she took the mantra, and because she was just a small girl, doesn't know much about the potency. We, as children, we are very curious, we want to see something. So she tested the mantra. First, chanting the mantra, thinking of a sun god. And he came. He said, oh, no, please, I'm very sorry. He wanted to have, you know what? He said, oh, no, I'm very sorry. I just tried. Please excuse me, I just tried. I just said, please go back. I'm still a young girl, I'm not married, so I cannot do like this. He said, no. The mantra you chanted, it has forced me, I must have, you know, but I will bless you that you maintain your chastity. Your chastity will remain, don't break. I'll give you that blessing. So you can only release me only by my happy union. On that grounds, she allowed the union with you. And immediately she was pregnant, and he gave birth to a son, brilliant, full of ornament like the father. And that was Karna. So Karna was her first son. But because he feared a young girl not married, having a baby, how are you going to deal with that? So she took the baby to away. But as providence will have it, the baby was saved, grew up, and came back as Karna. And you see that Karna, although he's the first child of Kunti Devi, he hated the worst person he want to see in his life is Arjuna, his own brother. Extreme hatred. He doesn't like the fanatics, especially Arjuna. Even when Kunti revealed to him later on that actually he was the first child for her, and the Pandavas are his brother. I said, well, no problem. I will never give up my enmity towards Arjuna. I will never. So he told Kunti Devi, anyway, if I die, you still have 5 children. If I don't die, also you still have 5 children. We are still here. So you don't worry. I must not agree with Arjuna. I will fight him, which he did. So Krishna blessed Arjuna to kill him. Text 5. With great delight, they all approach him as if life had returned to their bodies. They exchange obeisances and welcome each other with embraces. Due to anxieties and long separation, they all cried out of affection. King Yudhishthira then arranged to offer sitting accommodations and a reception. After Dhira ate sumptuously and took sufficient rest, he was comfortably seated. Then the king began to speak to him, and all who were present there listening. King Yudhishthira was expert in reception also, even in the case of his family members. Dhira was well received by all the family members by exchange of embraces and obeisances. After that, bathing and arrangements for a sumptuous dinner were made. And then he was given sufficient rest. After finishing his rest, he was offered a comfortable place to sit. And then the king began to talk about all happenings, both family and otherwise. That is the proper way to receive a beloved friend, or even an enemy. Even an enemy should be received in such a way that he does not feel he is in the house of the enemy. That is a custom for civilized people. An enemy is always afraid of his enemy, but this should not be so when he is received at the home by his enemy. This means that the person, when received at home, should be treated as a relative. So, what to speak of a family member like Dhira, who was a well-wisher for all the members of the family. Thus, Yudhishthira Maharaj began to speak in the presence of all the other members. Yudhishthira Uvacha. Api smaratano yushmat Paksha Chaya Samaritan Ipadiganada Isak Nyadir Mochita Jat Samatrika. Maharaj Yudhishthira said, my uncle, do you remember how you always protected us along with our mother from all sorts of calamities? Their partiality, like the wings of a bird, saved us from the poisoning and arson. This is what Vidura did. He was very, because Dhritarashtra, his senior brother, was not protecting the Pandavas. Vidura, who is Dharmaraj incarnate, who never do anything inauspicious. He always stands for the truth. He is always perfect in his activities. Vidura performed his duty perfectly by protecting and guiding the Pandavas, while his brother was planning so many calamitous situations for them. Vidura was also planning how to neutralize all the nonsense activities of his brother. In this way, he protected the Pandavas. So Maharaj Yudhishthira is very much aware of this and is asking him, do you remember how you protected us? Always, you always protected us. Do you remember that? There were so many things and you were always there to help us. And particularly, Dhritarashtra had constructed a gaseous house. Houses are naturally built by bricks and wood or something. But Dhritarashtra constructed a gaseous house, like Narakasura. So that his plan was that he will offer that to the Pandavas. And when they will be there, he will send someone to go and set the house at place. In this way, the Pandavas will be killed, will be dead. And when they are dead, there will be nobody to ask them for the kingdom anymore. So they will naturally kill the kingdom. After all, he's not the one who killed them, and they not prove that he killed. So everything will be considered a providence. Or the fire outbreak was due to their own mistake. So Dhritarashtra planned this. So when the Pandavas were leaving, Dhritarashtra called Yudhishthira Maharaj. He called him. And he gave him a very powerful lesson. Dhira said, you are a Kshatriya, so you know about weapons, varieties of weapons. But let me tell you, there are other weapons which are not physical, which are very, very subtle. Those arrows are more dangerous than the physical ones. Couldn't you understand what Dhira was speaking? But Maharaj is a politician, so he knew perfectly. He knew what Dhira was hinting at. So where you are going, you should be very, very, very careful. You should not relax. You should never relax there. Where you are going, you should never relax there. You are going to a very dangerous place. That house is not actually a house. You are going to sit in the middle of gas. The moment you strike a fire, you are finished. So you have to be very, very, very careful. You have to be careful. This was not known to this the plan of the so Vidura gave him this. He gave him this instruction. So he was very, very careful. He was very careful. Very careful. And then when they finally got there, they had somebody to construct a tunnel under that palace to a different city, a different village altogether. It was unknown, and it was said only Bhim know the entrance. All this arrangement was done by the advice of Dhira Mahatma. There are many such instances of calamities, and in each of them, Dhira gave protection to the Pandavas on one hand. On the other hand, he tried to restrain his brother Dhritarashtra from such intriguing policies. Therefore, he was always partial to the Pandavas, just as a bird protects its eggs by its wing. So Dhritarashtra, Yudhishthira Maharaj said, you are very, very partial to us. You are very, very partial. A weapon not made of steel or any other material element can be more than sharp to kill an enemy. And he who knows this is never killed. That is to say, he hinted that the party of the Pandavas was being sent to Varana to be killed. And those he warned Yudhishthira to be very careful in their new residential palace. It was not a residential palace. It is a weapon to destroy them in the shape of a house. So Dhira made this very clear. So they were all very prepared. And when it was time for the Dhritarashtra to manifest his devilish plan, the light, before he could manifest his devilish plan, he said something to go and set the house ablaze. The partner was already aware of the whole thing, and they were ready. So as soon as the man came and put fire on the house, Bhimsena, he broke the entrance, and all the Pandavas and their necessary belongings left the place. And Bhimsena went out and caught that man and threw him into the fire. So the only person who died was from Dhritarashtra's party, the person whom he sent to go and do that dangerous act. Bhimsena killed him. He caught him and threw him into the fire. So he couldn't come out. He was dead. That is the result of being a sinful person. It is our sinful activity that will destroy us, not something else. Nothing else will destroy it. It's our own, the result of unsinful activity will destroy it. Just like an envious person is destroyed by the fire of envy from the person's life. That is the way nature works. Yes, while traveling on the surface of the earth, how did you maintain your livelihood? At which holy places and pilgrimage sites did you render service? Dhira went out from the palace to detach himself from household cares, especially political intrigues, as referred to herein before. He was practically insulted by Jordan's calling him a son of the Super. Although it was not out of place to talk loosely in the case of one's grandmother. Dhira's mother, although a Sudrani, was the grandmother of Dhira. And funny talks are sometimes allowed between grandmother and grandchildren. But because the remark was an actual fact, it was unpalatable talk to Dhira, and it was accepted as a direct insult. He therefore decided to quit his paternal house and prepare for the renounced order of life. This preparatory stage is called Vanaprastha, or retired life for traveling and visiting the holy places on the surface of the earth. In the holy places of India like Vrindavan, Haridwar, Jagannath Puri, and Prayaga, there are many great devotees, and they are still free teaching houses for persons who desire to advance spiritually. Maharaj Yudhishthira was inquisitive to learn whether the Dhira maintained himself by mercy of the preaching house chakras, or he was completely detached that the Supreme Personality was personally taking care of him. My Lord, devotee like your good self now, yes, Richard Maharaj is speaking. We mentioned before that he will glorify and establish Dhira for what he is. Now he is on it. My Lord, devotees like your good self are verily holy places personified. Because you carry the personality of Godhead within your heart, you turn all places into places for pilgrimage. The pure devotees, they visit holy places. Or in some holy places, the pure devotee stays there. That is why it is recommended that we should visit holy places, because we'll have the chance to hear Krishna Katha from them. You're not just going to take a bath, you're not just going to visit or to take darshan of the deities. It is to go and hear Krishna Katha from the sages who live there or those who frequent the place. And for now, we also have our own sages that we can travel to these holy places. We can take our Guru waters. We can take other senior devotee waters. And then we can go to these places and sit down and hear Krishna Katha. And the person in Krishna is good devotee from those places. In such a way, in that way, our Krishna consciousness. Yes. So this sacrifice of visiting holy places is very much encouraged. And Dhira is a holy place personified. Wherever he is, that's a holy place. He's a holy place personified. Whoever has his association must become transformed. Like Dhira. Like Dhira, you see no problem. Though he's very, 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 very wicked and dangerous. And he takes pleasure in sinful activities. Dhira liberated him. Dhira, who gave him opportunity to become the preacher. So, Maharaj Yudhishthira said, Dhira is a holy place personified. And Prabhupada agreed to that. A pure devotee is here from the authorities and chant, sing, and write of the glories of the Lord. Mahamuni Vyasdev heard from Narada, and then he chanted in writing. Sukadev Goswami studied from his father, and he described it to Parikshit. That is the way of Srimad Bhagavatam. So, by their actions, the pure devotees of the Lord can render any place into a place of pilgrimage. And the holy places are what they name holy, only on their account. Yes. So the pure devotees are able to satisfy the polluted atmosphere of any place. And what to speak of the holy place rendered unholy by the questionable actions of interested persons who try to adopt a professional life at the cost of the reputation of holy places. Even there, they get purified if they happen to lead a pure devotee like Mahatma Vidura. My uncle, he must have visited Dwaraka in that holy place. Our friends and well-wishers, the descendant of Yadu, who are always wrapped in the service of the Lord, Sri Krishna. You might have seen them or heard about them. Are they all living happily in their bodies? It's a very, very important question, inquiry. Yudhishthira Maharaj, being a devotee, also would like to hear about other devotees. So the question is not out of place. The question is in place. That Maharaj Yudhishthira is asking Vidura, my uncle, you visited Dwaraka. How are the Dwarakabasis doing? We want to know how they are doing. A particular word, Krishna Devataha, that is, those who are always wrapped in the service of Lord Krishna, is significant. The Yadavas and the Pandavas, who were always wrapped in the thought of the Lord Krishna and his different transcendental activities, we are all pure devotees of the Lord, like Vidura. Vidura left home in order to devote himself completely to the service of the Lord. But the Pandavas and the Yadavas were always wrapped in the thought of Lord Krishna. Thus, there is no difference in their pure devotional activities. Either remaining at home or leaving home, the real qualification is devotion. It should become wrapped in the thought of Krishna, favorably. Everything we're doing is to take us to this level. I will have a favorable attitude in our Krishna consciousness. Because there is no difference. knowing where the Lord Krishna is the absolute Kamsa, Jarasandha, Supa, many other demons. Like them, we are also always wrapped in the thought of Krishna. But they were absorbed in a different way, namely unfavorably, or thinking him to be a powerful man only. Therefore, Kamsa and Shishupal are not on the same level as pure devotees like the Dhira, the Pandavas, and the Yada. Yudhishthira has continued. Thus, being questioned by Maharaj Yudhishthira, Mahatma Vidura gradually described everything he had personally experienced, except news, the annihilation of the Yadu dynasty. Let's take some juice. Yes. Thus, being questioned by Maharaj Yudhishthira, Mahatma Vidura gradually described everything he had personally experienced, except news of the annihilation of the Jadu dynasty. He purposely did not do that because he doesn't want to give bad news. He doesn't want to give bad news to him. Compassionate Mahatma Vidura could not stand to see the Pandavas' distress at any time. Therefore, he did not disclose this unpalatable and unbearable incident because calamities come of their own accord. He didn't want to give the news. Let it come out by itself. According to Niti Shastra, civic laws, one should not speak an unpalatable truth to cause distress to others. Distress comes upon us in its own way by the laws of nature. So one should not aggravate it by propaganda. For a compassionate soul like Vidura, especially in his dealings with the beloved Pandavas, it was almost impossible to discuss an unpalatable piece of news, like annihilation of the Yadu dynasty. Therefore, he purposely refrained from it. Just 1 minute. Just 1 minute. 1 minute. All right. Back. Yes. We should not give a bad news. Unpalatable news. It's not being distributed. Therefore, Vidura did not mention it. He kept quiet. Allow it to come by itself. Because Mahatma Vidura, being treated just like a godly person by his kinsmen, remained there for a certain period, just to rectify the mentality of his eldest brother, and in this way, bring happiness to all the others. This is very, very important. Vidura came just just to rectify the life, to renovate, to help the life of his eldest brother, his Dhritarashtra. You know, when a disease is removed, everybody associated with that environment will be happy. When a disease, when inauspicious thing is removed, the environment will become very wonderful. So it is nicely presented here. He remained there for a certain period, the time that would take him to do his duty by injecting powerful instruction to the heart of the Dhritarashtra, get him rectified, and when he leaves there, in this way, everybody will be happy. He will give happiness to everybody. And that's what he did. He didn't come there to come and ask for the share of his inheritance. He came there not to come on a revenge, but he came just to rectify the situation, to help the situation. So the time that would take him to do that, Dhira stayed wait for them. The proper said, centrally President like Dhira must be treated as well as a denizen from heaven. Even better, because the denizens of heaven are not pure devotee Mahatma like Dhira. So, yes, I did that it should be respected. Like we would respect a demigod, because we see them to be superior to us. And yes, and they are superior to us, but they are not superior to pure devotees. Even though we don't see some of our pure devotees manifesting fire from the mouth like some demigods will do, or cursing people. So they are not less. They are not less in quality compared to a demigod who do that. That's the idea. And property is maintaining here. But we should respect them more. Because they can do something which a demigod cannot do. A demigod cannot reach a person and deliver them from hellish material existence, like Dhira can do. Therefore, I'm more powerful and should be more respected. But maybe Dhira had already adopted the renounced order of life, and therefore he did not return to his paternal palace to enjoy some material comfort. No, he accepted out of his own mercy what was offered to him by Maharaj Yudhishthira. But the purpose of living in the palace was to deliver his elder brother, his Dhritarashtra, who was too much materially attached. His Dhritarashtra lost all his state and descendant in the fight with Maharaj Yudhishthira. And still, due to his sense of helplessness, he did not feel ashamed to accept the charity and hospitality Maharaj Yudhishthira of Maharaj Yudhishthira. on the part of Maharaj Yudhishthira, it was quite in order to maintain his uncle in a befitting manner. But acceptance of such magnanimous hospitality by the Dhritarashtra was not at all desirable. I have a question for all of you. Are you ready for my question? I have a question for all of you.
Yes, Maharaj.
Okay, my question, thank you. My question is this. Maharaj Yudhishthira is a pure devotee, like this Mahatma Dhira. Both of them are pure devotees. Yudhishthira Maharaj is the son of Dhira. So both of them are the same. Both are pure devotees. Dharmaraj, that is Yamaraj, she is Vidura. And a son of Dharmaraj, Dharmaputra, Dharmaraj Putra is Yudhishthira Maharaj. So, Maharaj Yudhishthira is here maintaining the Dhritarashtra, taking care of him, and he's going to lament when Vidura will preach to him and he will leave the home. Yudhishthira is going to lament seriously. So he's here maintaining the Dhritarashtra, and here Vidura is coming to come and preach and chastise him and push him away from the maintenance of Yudhishthira Maharaj. So, what I didn't understand is why Yudhishthira Maharaj didn't do this. Why he didn't preach to him? Why did he encourage him to leave home? Why did he allow him to stay? He gave him maintenance. And even when he left, he's going to lament seriously. And Vidura is coming to chastise, use a very harsh word to chastise. Yudhishthira Maharaj didn't use that word. But Vidura used this word. I don't know why Yudhishthira did this. You understand my question? Should I repeat it?
Maybe, Maharaj. But any devotee who wants to answer can raise their, use the emoji to raise their hand, then we can unmute.
Two devotees, there are two devotees here. One is chastising severely, one is maintaining very nicely, comfortably. What is this? I don't understand. Why you this time, Maharaj did not talk to him? He doesn't know the philosophy. And not only that, he doesn't know the philosophy. When he left, he lamented seriously. Oh, I've offended him. Oh, what did I do? Oh, is he angry with me? Oh, I'm so sinful that, why? Oh, what did he do? Yes.
Madhvan Prabhu, go ahead.
Okay. Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
From the way I look at it, Yudhishthira will be inclined to take care of the Dhritarashtra, because after the battle of Kurukshetra, the Dhritarashtra lost all his children, and because of Yudhishthira, Krishna killed all the Dhritarashtra children. So It's just like a kind of compensation to take care of him.
Thank you. So Vidra didn't know that.
Well, Dhira will now have to act in a different capacity to liberate him.
So he doesn't know that his children were killed.
He knows, but it won't go well for Yudhishthira so much. So we tell him philosophy.
Thank you.
Okay. In finish, please unmute and answer the question.
Yes, Rasavan Prabhu.
Okay,
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Thank you very much. From the, like what you said, Yudhishthira is a pure devotee.
Yes.
And the pure devotee doesn't take offense in anything. He is always full of compassion. So though the Dhira did all this to Yudhishthira, knowing that they are fully under the protection of Krishna and as their well-wisher, he didn't take offense so much into all this. From the very beginning, he was still very compassionate towards him. But the other aspect of it is that despite all things, this Dhira is like a father to Yudhishthira. And it will be so much awkward for a son to be chastising the father, even if the father is wrong. So it is only Vidura, who is his brother and also a pure devotee, that can tell the truth. That's the way I see it.
Right. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it makes sense. Thank you. It makes sense for me.
Okay, Kamalasha Prabhu, please kindly unmute.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, all glories to you.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Oh, today I'm getting questions. Yes.
I think it's a matter of Vidura is a brother to the Dhira, and why Yudhishthira is like a son. And also, again, it's like a matter of duty. Yudhishthira sees it as his duty, administrative duty, to take care of the Dhira, who at that time was depending on him.
Yes.
Forgive me for my speculation.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense. All of you make sense. Any other comment?
Hare Krishna Maharaj. The 2 points I wanted to make has actually been one of them has been made. Okay. And one is that it is a matter of etiquette. Both of them are pure devotees, both Yudhishthira and Vidura. But according to etiquette, it is, unless on an unusual situation, the son should not instruct the father. And a brother can, depending on the circumstances. So I think that is why Yudhishthira Maharaj is not taking it upon himself to instruct, leaving it to Vidura to give. The second point is that the Lord's arrangement cannot be overturned, because even though Yudhishthira is a son, as a pure devotee, in circumstances, when we look at the Chitraketu story, when eventually the son spoke, he instructed the father. So sometimes the son could instruct the father, but in this case, the Lord's arrangement was that Vidura has to instruct. That's what I was thinking.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Thank all of you for your contributions. Very good. It's good for us to understand what is happening, not just the world. You should go beyond. Yeah, it is. Even if you look at it materially, socially. So two of us are fighting. So you win the case. You won, and now I'm saying with you. How will you? Whatever you do tonight, people are going to say, "He is very." You see, carry that enmity. That is nice. He's not taking care of his uncle. You see, because of enmity from there. People have point hand from it. It says, therefore, Yudhishthira Maharaj have been perfectly trained by Bhishma and trained by Lord Krishna and on throne. So he knows all the politics. He knows all the etiquette. He knows what he should do at all times. So it is natural for him to take care of him as he did. That was perfect for him. If he didn't do that, it would mean that he's an irresponsible child. And he's retaliating what the Dhritarashtra has done to him. It's retaliation. So to show that he's not. And and the whole world also to learn. So he took care of him nicely. Not that he cannot preach to him. He could preach to him. But Dhira is a preacher. Yudhishthira Maharaj is not a preacher. It's a satira, is a preacher. Dhira is a preacher. Remember here, properly mentioned it. Mahatma Vidura had already adopted the renounced order of life. He says, Swami, his duty is to preach. So he did, and he did it perfectly. He used a very sharp word so he could get his target, and he succeeded in getting his brother out of this. So both of them are good preachers. They are acting perfectly. He did some has acted perfectly, Vidura also acted perfectly. Both of them are correct in their activities. All right. 15. As long as Vidura played the part of a Shudra, being cursed by Manduka Muni, Aryama officiated at the post of Yamala to punish those who committed sinful acts. That means that it was not vacant. It was not vacant. Everything is there. So a question can be asked. Vidura, born in the womb of a Sudra woman, was forbidden even to be a party of royal heritage, along with his brothers, Dhritarashtra and Pandu. Then, how could he occupy the post of a preacher to instruct such a learned kings and satyrs as Dhritarashtra and Maharaj Yudhishthira? How? The answer. The first answer is that even though it is accepted that he was a student by birth, because he renounced the world for spiritual enlightenment, the authority of Rishi Maitreya, and was thoroughly educated by him in transcendental knowledge, he was quite competent to occupy the post of an acharya, a spiritual preceptor. Yeah, this is perfect. If a person had become a pure devotee, we don't look at his birth. We already mentioned in the beginning that Krishna sent his devotees to different places to teach us the exalted nature of Krishna consciousness and his devotees, and also to purify that environment or that class of people. According to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, anyone who is conversant in the transcendental knowledge or the science of Godhead, be he a Brahmana or a Sudra, a householder, a sannyasi, is eligible to become a spiritual man. Even in the ordinary moral code maintained by Janaka Pandit, the great politician and moralist, there is no harm in taking lessons from a person who may be by birth less than a Shudra. This is one part of the answer. The other is that Vidura was not actually a Sudra. He was to play the part of a so-called Sudra for 100 years, being cursed by Manduka Muni. He was the incarnation of Yamaraj, one of the 12 Mahajans, and the level was such exalted personalities like Brahma, Narada, Shiva, Kapila, Bhisma, Prahlada, etc. Being a Mahajan, it is the duty of Yamaraj to preach the call of devotion to the people of the world, as Narada, Brahma, and other Mahajans do. Therefore, what Vidura did is perfect and complete. Having won his kingdom and observed the birth of one grandson, competent to continue the noble tradition of his family, Maharaj Yudhishthira reigned peacefully and enjoyed uncommon opulence in cooperation with his younger brothers, who were all expert administrators. Today, common people. Yes, both Maharaj Yudhishthira and Arjuna were unhappy in the very beginning of the battle of Kurukshetra. But even though they were unwilling to kill their own men in the fight, it had to be done as a matter of duty. But it was planned by the Supreme Will, Lord Sri Krishna. Therefore, they did the service for Lord Krishna. Insurmountable eternal time imperceptibly overcomes those who are too much attached to family affairs and are always engrossed in their thoughts. This is what is happening. We don't see how we are growing. And we don't also see how time is deteriorating everything. Why we don't see? Because of our engrossment in material existence, in the pursuit to gratify the senses. So we don't see what is happening. That our body is growing old. We have gray hair. All the joints are weak. The bones are in pain. We're coughing. You can't eat like before. No appetite. Everything is showing, but we don't see it. Therefore, the word imperceptible time is used here. We don't see what is happening. Otherwise, you're supposed to know that nature is very kind, that is giving you the signal. What is happening is that we are getting close to death. What is our preparation for that? Without the preparation, we are simply living like animals. Therefore, any comfort of life or any material happiness which does not warrant an eternal life is but illusion for the eternal living being. One who understands this factually is learned, and such a learned person can sacrifice any amount of material happiness to achieve the desired goal known as Brahma Sukha, or absolute happiness. Real transcendentalists are hungry for this happiness. And as a hungry man cannot be made happy by all comfort of life minus food stuff. So the man hungry for eternal absolute happiness cannot be satisfied by any amount of material happiness. Therefore, the instruction described in this verse cannot be applied to Maharaj Yudhishthira or his brothers and others. It was meant for persons like Dhritarashtra, for whom the Dhira came especially to impart lessons. 18. Mahatma Vidura knew all this, and therefore he addressed Dhritarashtra saying, Rajan Nirigamya Tan Sigram Pasedam Bayam Agatam. My dear king, please get out of here immediately. Do not delay. Just see how fear has overtaken you. Vidura Tat Adi Vetia Dhritarashtram Vasata Rajan Niriga Vyatam Siddham Pasedam Vayam Agatam. Please get out of here immediately. Do not delay. Don't waste time. Don't wait for anything. Just leave now. Why? A fear has overtaken you. Which fear? A fear of death. Chasing everyone in all directions at all times. Many times you hear people saying, that is scary. Okay, it is scary. Is that the solution? The solution is not that it's scary. The solution is that we should get prepared by taking to Krishna consciousness, because even if it is scary, it's going to happen. If it's not scary, it's still going to happen. Better we take to Krishna consciousness and be free. To be free. The word Rajan is especially addressed to Dhritarashtra significantly. Because Dhritarashtra was the elder son of his father. And therefore, according to law, he was to be installed on the throne, fasting. But because he was blind from birth, he was disqualified from his rightful claim. But he could not forget the bereavement, and in his disappointment was somewhat compensated after the death of his younger brother. His younger brother left behind him some minor children, and the successor became the natural guardian of them. But at heart, he wanted to become the actual king and hand the kingdom over to his own sons, headed by Dhira. The Dhira therefore sarcastically addressed Dhritarashtra as the king, which he was actually not. Everyone is a servant of eternal time, and therefore no one can be king in this material world. King means a person who can order. A celebrated English king wanted to order time and tithe, but the time and tithe refused to obey his order. Therefore, one is a false king in the material world. And the Dhritarashtra was particularly reminded of this false position and of the actual fearful happening, which had already approached him in at that time. Dhira asked him to get out immediately if he wanted to be saved from the fearful situation which was approaching him fast. He did not ask Maharaj Yudhishthira in that way because he knew that a king like Maharaj Yudhishthira is aware of all the fearful situations of this flimsy world and would take care of himself in due course, even though Dhira might not be present at that time. Yes. Yes. When a devotee is perfectly trained and is following that, like Dhira himself, after he has asked all the necessary questions to his spiritual master, Maitreya Muni, and everything we perfectly explained scientifically, and he got everything completely with full realization, he stopped questioning. So, Maitreya Muni will not be disturbed about how Dhira will leave his body, what he will do. He will not be disturbed because he knows he already prepared him. In the same way, Dhira is completely aware that he will not say this to Yudhishthira Maharaj because he has been perfectly trained and he knows and he's following that path. So he will naturally end his life in Krishna consciousness because that is the path he's cultivating. Yeah? This is what he's cultivating. "19. This frightful situation cannot be remedied by any person in this material world. My Lord, it is the supreme percentage of Godhead as eternal time, Kala, that has approached us all. So, where can we go to get shelter? Only Krishna. Shelter is necessary. Only Krishna shelter is necessary. There is no superior power which can check the cruel hands of death. No one wants to die. However, acute is the source of bodily sufferings to be, even in the days of so-called scientific advancement of knowledge. There is no remedial measure, either for old age or for death. Old age is the notice of the arrival of death served by cruel time. And no one can refuse to accept either summon, courts, or the supreme judgment of eternal time. Therefore, it's better for us to take shelter of the supreme personality of God. So surrender to Krishna. If you surrender to Krishna and follow the path Krishna has initiated, everything will become perfect. Because it is Krishna now who will adjust everything for us. I be here, sir. My mama, my Durachaya, Mam, ever ye propaganda, Mayam, Etam Tarantite. Yes. Although it is very difficult and unsurpassable by anyone, Mam, ever ye propaganda, anyone who take my shirt, anyone surrender to me, then the person will be shown the way, the person will show the path. Everything will be made clear. In other words, it's Krishna who will take care. The devotee does not need to worry for anything because Krishna will take care. What we need to do is what Krishna has given to you. Janma karma tamedi bam. Even your beti takpataha. We just get ourselves busy in cultivating Krishna conscious devotion toward Krishna. And then Krishna will take care of the men. He is the one who will help us to remember. He's the one who will be there. He will make perfect arrangements. We don't need to waste our time to worry what will happen to me when I feed the body. What will happen to you when you feed the body? It depends on what we are doing now. So we can know our future. We don't have to worry. We can know our future right from what we're doing now. So if we are following Krishna consciousness as it is, that is our future. Krishna said, Mameti, you come to me. That's what Krishna promised us. That is the destination for all devotees. The destination for all devotees is Mahameti, come to me, Krishna said. We're going to Krishna. If you are not cultivating that, simply getting worried, then you're not going to Krishna. You're going to go to a different place. So Krishna consciousness can show us perfectly where we are or what we need to do so we can get our destination. We simply have to follow it. That's all. Just follow. As the acharyas are speaking, we see and follow. That's what we need to do. No speculation. There's nothing else to do. Just follow. Sato, Brite. Just follow. Text 20. Whoever is under the influence of Supreme Kala, eternal time, must surrender his most dear life. And what to speak of other things, such as wealth, honor, children, land, and home. Everything. Because all these things are given to us by Krishna, and we are simply taking care of them on his behalf. I will use them, also will determine where we are going to go. If you use this thing to please Krishna, it will not be difficult to surrender them to Krishna because he gave them to us. It will not be difficult. If you don't use them for Krishna, then it will be difficult. Therefore, the conclusion is that there is no powerful living being within the universe who can overcome the influence of time. Many poets have written verses lamenting the influence of time. That is not the solution. Many devastations have taken place over the universe due to the influence of time. And no one could check them by any means. Even in our daily life, so many things come in which we have no hand, but we have to suffer or tolerate them without remedial measure. That is the result of time. Better to surrender to time. This is Krishna himself, the supreme time. Then we are saved. Not wasting our time for anything else. 21. Your father, brother, well-wishers, and sons are all dead and passed away. You yourself have expended a major portion of your life. Your body is now overtaken by invalidity, and you are living in a home of another. Don't look at the word the Dhira is presenting. So direct. They're not hiding his word here. They say we should not speak unpalatable truth. Is it unpalatable or not palatable? Is it palatable truth or not, or unpalatable? Yes, Madam. Somebody telling you, Prabhu, listen to me. Your father has gone, your brother has gone, your mother has gone, your uncle, the aunt have all gone. All your well-wishers and sons, they're all gone, they are dead and gone, they all pass away. You yourself, even you, see, don't look at yourself. You have already wasted 75%. Yeah, you are now 80 years old. So you have gone above this. And your body is now overtaken by invalidity. And you are living in the home of people whom you have tried to kill many times. And all of them are aware of that. You are not ashamed. How will you feel, brother?
Truth is always very bitter. It's always very bitter. And you to see somebody who say the truth, it's always scarce also. To get someone who will tell you the truth, because mostly people won't like to spoil your mind or they respect you. But if one is fortunate enough, somebody can tell you the truth. It's bitter. Then the one who helped the person, the solution the person. That's my own opinion, Maharaj.
Thank you. Is truth bitter? Is truth bitter? Truth, is it bitter? Truth. absolute truth is bitter? Is it bitter? Truth.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
The absolute truth is absolutely sweet to the soul. But for one who is in the bodily consciousness, the truth is very bitter.
Yes. Yes. Thank you. That's Prabhu.
Maharaj, thank you very much. I think I'm on the same line with Salika Prabhu. Okay. The only thing I will add is that the truth is always sweet for one on the truthful part.
Yes.
But the one who is not on the truthful part, no matter how it is bitter.
Yes. So it is we who are bitter, not the truth, right?
Yes.
So we are bitter. The truth is sweet, but we are bitter. Rupa Goswami confirmed that. Rupa Goswami said, the holy name of Krishna is sweet, but we have jaundice. So we taste bitter because we are bitter. We have jaundice. Therefore, it is bitter, not the truth, not the holy name. See, Rupa Goswami said, don't worry, there's no other medicine for jaundice than that bitter truth. That bitter truth, that bitter holy name. So we should continue to hear the truth. We should continue to take the name. As we are taking, we are getting cured. Eventually, we will not taste that bitterness again. It will be sweet. We will regain the real nature of absolute truth, or truth, or absolute truth, in the holy name. So let us continue to take the medicine. Yeah, it is a fact that when we are told what we need to hear, we don't like it. That is our nature. That's our condition. It is not what is said to us that is bad. It is we who are not ready that feel bad. So Dhira does not look at the Dhritarashtra's face. He already ordered him, get out of here now. Get out from here. Don't now. Get out. Because you're not going to change the situation. Can anyone change old age? Look at our proper said, even our nonsense so-called modernity. What can they do? Modernity. What can they do? Eh? There's so many plastic surgeries going on. Very expensive plastic surgeries. Who have become better from plastic surgeries? Who have become young from plastic surgeries? That their age is reduced to 20 years. You are 80 years old, you do plastic surgeries, and you become 20 years old. Who have done that in history? I want to know. Which person have done that? Okay, we can be deceived, which is a big illusion, can be deceived. Oh, I'm looking young now, but are you actually looking young in yourself? Your body will be looking externally young, but inside you, are you young? Inside is burning with fire of old age and distress because we're interfering with nature. So we'll never be happy. We're interfering with nature's arrangement. We cannot be happy. There's no peace for deviant. A criminal cannot be happy because, you know, I've done something wrong and the law will come after me either tomorrow or next. Definitely it's going to come. So, you know, happiness for deviants. Yeah, this is very, very powerful. The Dhira wanted to point out to the Dhritarashtra that everyone has to protect himself by his action and the grace of the Lord. One has to execute his duty faithfully, depending for the result on the supreme authority. No friend, no children, no father, no brother, no state, and no one else can protect a person who is not protected by the Supreme Lord. One should, therefore, seek the protection of the Supreme Lord, for the human form of life is meant for seeking that protection. He was warned of his precarious condition more and more by the following words, verse 22. You have been blind from your very birth. Another palatable one. And recently you have become hard of hearing. Your memory is shortened and your intelligence is disturbed. Your teeth are loose, your liver is defective, and you are coughing up mucus. Hare Krishna. Yes, this is what is happening. Go and bring the doctor that can stop this in the whole world. Go and bring the doctor. And people have been trying. So many hospitals. Every time new hospitals are coming up. New hospital, naturopathy hospital, allopathy, Ayurveda, or you can name them. There are varieties of hospitals. Doctors are coming every day. Graduating doctors are coming every day. New hospitals are coming up every day. But where is that hospital is stopping someone from old age? Only Christian consciousness can do that. So those who are fortunate will pursue Christian consciousness and abandon everything else. Therefore, we should approach the saint, the sadhus who knows this, that can teach us this. But Prabhupada said, saints and sages like Vidura approach such foolish men to awaken them to the real situation. But they take such sadhus and saints as parasites of society. And almost all of them refuse to hear the word of such sadhus and saints. Although they welcome showboatu sadhus and so-called saints who can satisfy their senses. That is a misfortune. Vidura was not a sadhu to satisfy the ill-gotten sentiment of distrust. He was correctly pointing out the real situation of life and how one can save oneself from such catastrophes. Yes. Alas, how wonderful are the hopes of a living being to continue his life. Verily, you are living just like a household dog and are eating remnant of food given by Bhima, whom you tried to kill many times. You tried many times to kill him, and you are not ashamed. A person who you want to kill, you are staying under him. Don't you think that he can also poison you? What will you do? The fact that he's a devotee is a different thing. But if he's not a devotee, it's a good chance to retaliate. A sadhu should never flatter kings or rich men to live comfortably at their cost. A sadhu is to speak to the householders about the naked truth of life so that they may come to their senses about the precarious life in material existence. Dhira, therefore, was astonished. How powerful is the urge to continue life? This sense of continuing one's life indicates that a living being is eternally a living entity and does not want to change his bodily habitation. Whether we like to change it or not, it will be changed. So, a sadhu like Vidura is meant to awaken such blind persons and thus help them to go back to Godhead, where life is eternal. Once going there, no one wants to come back to this material world of miseries. We can just imagine how responsible a task is. It's entrusted to a sadhu like Mahatma Vidura. It's very, very important. We can just imagine how responsible a task is entrusted to a sadhu like Mahatma Vidura. Thank you very much, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Maharaj, for this wonderful, wonderful, wonderful class. We're very grateful. So I want to, at this point, request all of the devotees to please kindly all unmute themselves and let us loudly chant powerful Hare Krishna mantra to appreciate Maharaj for this.
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama.
Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Gaura Bhakti ki jai.
Holiness Bhakti Dhira Damodara Swami Maharaj ki jai. Thank you very much, Maharaj. So we'll see us again next weekend, same time, same platform. Hare Krishna.